Let's see what happens now. Okay, recording in progress. Welcome to the Spark Study Group Possibility Team. I think I have a couple of logistics. I believe that I believe Hannah Hirsch is going to be joining us at some point today in the next couple minutes. So she will be here. And the other thing is that Leslie and I wanted to play with the receiving feedback and coaching in the space, especially in the last 10 minutes of the space. And so at the end of each space, just the last 10 minutes, to start devoting that to feedback and coaching on our space holding. Any other logistics from anybody?
That's for me.
I will say that I may have to suddenly leave the call if my spouse needs me.
Thank you. Okay. I wanted to start today with just a quick check-in to get you real and here and present in the space with each other. And so it would be just maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes of just saying, I'm here and here's what's going on with me. Maybe that's not so visible right now or not so obvious right now, and I'm here. So I will start and then we can kind of pass it along just to the next person. I've been noticing that sometimes people will take a little while to start sharing in a space, and I think it's mostly just fear of sharing, not because they don't have something to say. So one remedy for that is just to pass it along. And I'm here, and right now I'm particularly this week I've been researching something like a place where I stop in intimacy, and where I'll go a certain amount of the way in being connected to people or being intimate with them. And actually the estimate that Ethna made was something like going really 60% of the way and being connected and intimate with people, and then suddenly getting scared or freaked out or running away. And a combination of things have me looking at what's really going on there in terms of it's not just intimacy. It's something like I've been feeling my resistance to really be involved in life, partly because stuff ends, that the intimacy will end eventually, that the friendship will end, that the romance will end, that the dinner will end, and I don't want that. It's something like if I just hang out far away from what's going on, then it doesn't have to end because it doesn't even begin in the first place. And one of the practices I've been doing with this is just standing in front of a mirror and looking into my eyes and this was a assignment I had, but checking in with reality that some part of me wants love to never ever end, or doesn't even comprehend ending, and to be with that, and then to be in this physical body where it's like it's constantly ending. It's really constant. That's how it is. And so I'm liquid about that, coming into this space and being with you. And I'm here. Thank you. Geneviève. Yes. Geneviève, will you share next?
Yes, I will. I arrived yesterday. I understood, I understood, or I saw that, in fact, it was difficult for me to really go into emotions so deeply and deeply, more deep and more deep. So, in a way, I felt scared about that, and well, but I arrived really. I am glad to be here because I couldn't reach last 2 weeks, and I missed that. I miss you. I want to commit. I want to be with you. But today I am a bit sad or afraid. Can I really feel something real deep? I arrived like that today. So
Thank you. Is there more?
no, I didn't know if you say the next person or not. And
You say.
maybe yeah, you say again.
You say, Geneviève.
So Leslie, would you like to tell us how you arrived?
Thank you. I don't know if it's visible or not. I'm having a rough day. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and my husband is feeling like sicker than ever, and I'm having a lot of sadness and anger and fear about like what that means and what is like what's required of me. Like there are things I'm resistant to, and he needs things, and I want to be there for him, and it's not realistic, and I don't know what that means or how to take care of that.
Aber nicht sogar am Wasser, gell? Aber reagiert ziemlich schnell. Wenn die einen beiden vor die Shower.
And I don't remember if I said I didn't sleep last night, so my feelings are up.
And I hope one day I can have this clock. That is it.
And still I showed up for the inner structure call that Isabel is holding, and I was glad I did, and I was awake for it, and yeah, so. Efna,
Thank you, Leslie.
thank you.
Leslie. Thank you, Leslie. Mm. Mm.
He said he wouldn't come.
I'm gonna move really quick before my check.
Hello,
Hannah.
Hannah.
Hannah,
Ethna's on the verge of checking in, and I'll just tell you before she comes back, we're doing these 2 or so minutes of just what's happening in you as you arrive here.
Hello, dear Hannah. And yeah, was feeling scared being on the call. There was supposed to be an event starting right now, and so I thought the area that I was going to be in would be empty, and it was not. And I started feeling fear in my body, they're just like, oh God, like I don't want to have a check-in. I don't want to have a conversation about anything I say afterwards. This felt like the energy of the spaces were melding, and I was scared about it. I'm also coming in a bit in the swamp. I had this conversation with Devin earlier today that opened up some kind of some awareness of gremlin feeding behaviors that I was previously pretty unaware of. And it's not so big, but I feel this kind of like dejected, like low levels of like dejection and being like, oh, I can't believe it. It never ends. There's also joy in that because it's like, wow, it never ends. This is so cool that I get to spend my life like this. But I can feel there's some part, well, there is some part that's really trying to make a tragedy out of that reality. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I'm coming in with right now. There's also a little bit of like low levels of fear. Like I haven't been on the call in, gosh, almost a month now, and some shame around not having been there. And popping back on, there's I can feel like a tentativeness in my energetic body. But I'm very glad to be here and to see all of you. And
You asked, no,
I think I'm in shadow right now. That's better.
that's better.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethna.
I nominate you.
Okay. Cool. I'm really glad to be here. I saw myself looking forward to coming into this space with you all during the day. There's something going on with me around time, and I feel fear about it. Like I have this, I'm having this experience like time's just passing and nothing's happening. Like there's just, it's winter here, and I feel I'm in some sort of wintering, like I'm like reflecting the outside or something. And at the same time, there's like a anger fire burning inside me, like to be creating something. So, but I like don't like leave the house. And so I'm angry because I'm supposed to be doing this thing for Fear Club where I say I'm afraid to like 3 people who aren't possibility management people, but I only see 3 people every day. Like I see my sister, my little baby niece, and her babysitter. And it's like, okay, Beth, that would mean you need to go out into the world. And so, but the most I can do right now is, I mean, it's not like the most I can do, not like I'm a victim of something. I'm just really, my impulses are keeping me super closed up and in here. And there's this tree that got cut down in the Arboretum. And it's like my one thing, because I went and sat with this tree, and the tree, I had this like conversation with the tree about the tree is like transitioning. It got uprooted and parts of it cut off. It's dying, and it asked me to come be with it and sit with it at times. So I have this tree to go see, and I was so grateful because I feel sadness coming. I'm sad too, and I'm grateful, and I'm sad, and I'm glad about this tree, because I was like, oh, I could just take a nap until the study group, and it was like, go walk and go see the tree. And the significance of ritual in my life, like going to the tree and bringing it like dried plants and just like building little sculptures around it, like that is what I'm living right now. It's like that I have a lot of joy about that. I have a lot of sadness about that. And it seems to be just like there's this richness in it. And I feel angry and sad to say that like everything else doesn't feel that way. And I'm just seeing these two things that are, it's like me in the house, like either on a possibility management call in a group, in a rage space, in a space. It's either that or I'm kind of like, what do I do? Like I have this art that I want to make and it's just kind of like nothing's happening and time's just passing. So that seems there's like a little bit of low drama in there. And then I have this walk that I take every day. So that's kind of what I'm with. And that's what I just got back from my walk. So I'm glad about my walk and I'm glad to be here. And I'm feeling all of everything else too. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Hannah, will you share?
Yes. I'm also coming into this space with a bit of fear. I said that I would be a few minutes late, and then I ended up being 10 minutes late, and I was like, is 10 minutes late still okay? I checked that a few minutes was okay, but I didn't check about 10 minutes. I had a little fear about that. And yeah, I was biking home from a lesson and I was just noticing like how many little stories I create as I'm going along. Like often on these bike rides, it's usually like there's an adversarial relationship that I'm creating between myself and the drivers. And I had an interaction with one of the drivers who like honked at me and then was like pulling up beside me, and my anger felt like super present, and I turned and the window was down and I went, there's a truck in the bike lane, like I had to move out of the bike lane, and so I assumed that that was why that person was honking at me. And she goes, yeah, but I don't want to hit you. And by then I was already past her car and I couldn't continue the conversation, but I felt sad. And I'm laughing because I feel there's some shame in it, which I guess I find funny, or I'm just responding to with laughter. But I felt ashamed that there was this immediate impulse of like, this car like is out to get me, and then it was like actually the car was just trying to check that I was safe. So yeah, then I was just noticing, and then it kept happening. Like I kept on like being like, oh my God, like this idiot, like this person is so, they're like, this is so unsafe, and like blah blah. Like it like even after that, it just kept happening. And so then I was just noticing that. I was just noticing like how much energy is going towards that, and like yeah, even like other things. It's like some teenage boy like running across the street. I'm like, oh my God, like what an idiot. Like just like immediately this judgment and like superiority and like alienating. So yeah, I'm just noticing that and trying not to make it good or bad right now, because beating myself up about things is also like a gremlin food for me, but just noticing that.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
Has everyone else gone, or do I need to nominate someone?
No, we've all gone.
Okay, great.
Thank you. So Leslie and I, prior to today's meeting, we're looking at a couple of sparks and one jumped out, which is this spark on grieving. And and I will share the actual, let me see how I do this from here. Leslie, am I able to share my screen from here?
So.
Okay.
No, now you are.
Am I? Let me see. Ah, there we go. Yeah, thank you. this is it. Am I sharing my whole screen with you, or am I just sharing
Yes.
part?
Yeah.
We're gonna
Full
try that.
Yes.
I'm gonna try that one more time. Get it. Okay. Share. Okay, just the spark that time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it is Spark 139.
Hmm.
Grief is not an emotion. It is the appropriate and necessary participation in a change process.
Hmm.
So I'll read this first paragraph and then the next person can just jump in and we'll go like that. Notes. Imagine thinking that sadness is a bad feeling. Imagine thinking that feeling sad about something indicates there is something wrong with you, perhaps requiring therapy or drugs to make it go away so you feel good again, numb again. Two things might arise from this kind of thinking.
First, you might need to keep your numbness level high enough to avoid feeling your sadness. Perhaps you found how to raise your numbness bar through overreacting, overwhelm, overworking, overeating, overspending, overexercising, overspeeding, overresenting, overwatching TV, overdrinking. I think you know the routine.
Second, if feeling sad is repressed, you block yourself from participating in change. You stay stuck. Why is this? Because in every change process, something new replaces something familiar. Sadness is part of the feelings body experience of losing something familiar. Let's just say that again. Sadness is part of the feelings body experience of losing something familiar. If you do not grieve deeply enough to hit bottom, the maximum depth of sadness, you don't birth your new life. You don't have a bottom to push off of so as to initiate life in the change.
Would you say that what you're feeling, Leslie?
Sad and scared. Hitting bottom sounds scary and like losing my mind, like something bad happening. But I know it doesn't have to mean that.
Thank you. What about other people when you, for this term, hit bottom, which I'll just say I didn't actually know it was in this spark, but it's a term that's been around possibility management now for maybe 3 weeks, especially in the Fear Club and elsewhere. There's even a website called, I think it's called Hit Bottom. What is it like for you, this whole thing of hitting bottom?
I would say it's a portal. That's what comes to me. There's a lot of space down there because it's not so mental and there is I don't know and I don't have to know and no one's expecting me to deliver something and I'm not expecting that of myself. And so there's this way in which it does feel like a portal to something totally different.
Hmm.
And for me, it's like, I hit it and then it's like I avoid. I hit it and then I try to climb back up into story. And I really want to stay there actually.
You want to stay at bottom?
It's like I want to be able to stay without, yeah, like in the transformational goo of not knowing and being okay with that. And I don't even know if okay exists down there either. It's just like I feel like I'm hitting it and not in it and not letting it really change me so much. That's kind of the dance I've been in with hitting bottom for the last couple years.
Mm.
Thank you.
I have a similar experience of doing a lot to avoid what I would call hitting bottom, especially when sometimes it feels like the bottom is coming for me or something. Like it's just somehow my number came up. I don't know.
Mhm.
And that my initial impulse is all the stuff that's listed here of over basically depending on strategies for numbing that as I go further with possibility management work and feelings work, it's just these things work way less effectively.
Mm.
But this pushing away and then some kind of a relief of one of the practices I've been doing is it seems like every 2 days right now, I need to just cry and tell someone about my new reality for sometimes for just 10 minutes. And it's one of the hardest conversations to initiate in my day. It's the hardest conversation to initiate in my day. And then once I go through it, I'm really there. It's something like I'm back in reality, which I would refer to as bottom. But I can spend quite a bit of time putting it off or telling a story like this person won't want to hear it this time. It's too much, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like you said, Beth, I don't want to leave. I do not want to leave reality or being at this kind of there's nowhere to go anymore space.
It sounds like hitting bottom, which is, I know, a new term, and so it's one that yes, it's new for me, but it sounds like from what you're describing, Devin and Beth, that it's like a conscious choice to be in liquid state or something like that. I wonder if that resonates. Does that resonate?
Yes, rather than an unconscious choice to not be in liquid state or to avoid liquid state or something.
Yeah, or like I experienced in my first ETB an unconscious choice to be in liquid state. Like I didn't fully understand what liquid state was. So it was unconscious, but I got there because of the facilitation of the space.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Did you have something, Beth, about it?
Yeah, I was gonna say about how in Fear Club, the last Fear Club that Anne Chloe is holding space for, we were in groups of 3 and it was people were like holding space for each other to kind of navigate to it. And it was such a weird and kind of like this experience because there's really no way to even navigate someone down there. It's not like there's no way to pull them down. There's no way to lead them or guide them because all of that would still be connected to story. And so I was just so amazed and at this constant like,
Yeah.
well, no, that's still a concept. that's still a story. Like that was the way that this people were holding space. And so it was just kind of pulling the rug out over and over again. And I can't even say that I got to the bottom. It was, but it's like, it's not, there's nowhere to get either. That it's not a goal. It's not actually like a linear path down to something. So it really, I feel glad about it because I feel like it's this new thing to practice that I'm really turned on with. So, but yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Beth. That helps me.
Yeah. And there's something really, I found it really like once again, just like big joy and sadness to do it with other people. And sometimes it was like just sitting there and like making noises even. It really was. It was just, and so there is this way of, yes, consciously going liquid on the team, like with the team supporting.
I like,
Kevin, did you do that practice?
yeah, we've done it a couple
Okay.
of times here, and it's
Okay,
been,
cool.
I think 2 or 3 times, and
Yeah.
2 times. And it's yeah, what the thing that you said about there's nowhere to go, because an EHP is also navigating someone consciously into liquid state. But there is some place to end up, which is like the old decision, the past memory, and it's in time. It's very much in time. The navigation with the EHP, and I noticed with the hitting bottom, it's navigating out of time into just now, to just the very smallest here and now possible, and it's such a flash in a pan. At least this is how it was for me. It's like, oh, but it's like a suddenly I get stunned into reality being with the people in front of me, and then it vanishes, and then it comes again and goes again. And that bizarre experience of nowhere to go, that you said, of like you're not really going somewhere, makes it really I think it elevates the one of the qualities of the bottom, which is bizarrely the groundlessness quality. Like there's no ground. Hitting bottom is somehow you're in a place where there's no ground that you're standing on.
Free fall.
Free fall.
Free fall. I think is Ethna still here? Oh, she is. Ethna or Genevieve, do you have anything to throw into the middle about this, which means in English to say about this?
Well, I'm not. I will talk. Yes, I'm not sure. I have experienced what you were talking about, but this is really what we just read is really brings me more alive, or it adds a compression. I can understand more because I feel very often sadness, and sometimes I feel, well, there is no bottom. How far can I go? How long will I stay there? Because well, sometimes it's okay. I'm just sometimes it's okay, but sometimes I don't want to stay there. So is there a button somewhere where I can push, like it is said, like where I can go back, where I can push and come back to reality, which is more large than that sadness I just feel at that time and sometimes for too long. So in fact, I am looking for something to jump on. And sometimes no. So, but I like, so really for me, it is, oh, wow, it is, you don't birth for a new life. So maybe if it is a way to let go something, to open place for a new something, well, this makes sense. For me, this makes sense, really. Yes, I think I will read it again many times because For me, it was, oh yes, this is the sense of that, maybe. This is the meaning, I mean, this is the meaning of that.
Mm.
My English is very bad.
Maybe Ethna could translate for you. Could you do that? Because I have this sense that you have more to say about it, Geneviève.
Where where I'm sitting, the Wi-Fi is very bad.
Okay.
If the audio is cutting in and out, so I can't guarantee translation.
Alas. Okay, thank you. Would you say a little bit more, Geneviève, even with bad English?
When, when I am too much in sadness, I don't just lose something familiar. I lose like my life in a way. I lose the meaning of the life, and even it comes back again. Well, maybe it is stories, but what is that, or who I am? What is that? Is that life or not? Or I'm not losing. I never thought I am losing my mind completely, but something like that, just at the edge of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this has a meaning for me. Maybe I have to reach that edge in order to birth a new life. So I like the meaning of what is written here.
We will get some
And,
practice also today. We'll practice that.
Thank you.
I say we read on. Who's up?
If for most of your life it has not been okay to feel sad, if you have been afraid to activate sadness to 100%, so it is available to you on a daily basis, if your sadness is not heard and understood by the people around you, then you are blocked from changing. You are blocked from growing up, letting go of the old, changing your mind, changing direction, starting over, discovering new options, and making creative choices about your life.
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the Swiss-born pioneer of near-death studies, developed a five-stage model that maps human participation in change. In possibility management, we extend her thought map to include the 4 feelings plus gremlin in the following way. 5 stages of experiencing change. I will not read further.
Okay. Stage 1, fear. What Elizabeth named denial, shock, trying to avoid the change. Stage 2, anger. Outrage that what worked before no longer works. Game over. Stage 3, gremlin. What Elizabeth called bargaining, trying to escape, find a clever way out of it, make a special deal. Stage 4, sadness. What Elizabeth named depression, the inescapable loss of the familiar. Stage 5, joy. What Elizabeth called acceptance, taking responsible action in the new situation.
These 5 stages of change may continue for 2 or more years in the case of the death of a loved one, or 3 minutes in the case of a post office being closed, or a restaurant not having what you want for lunch. Number 1, fear. No, you can't be out of broccoli quiche. It's the Wednesday special. 2, anger. I came all the way here, especially for the broccoli quiche. I don't want anything else. You have deceived me. 3, gremlin. Perhaps I could find leftovers from last week in your fridge. 4, sadness. Oh man, now what am I gonna do? My lunch plan is destroyed. 5, joy. Could you please bring me a Caesar salad?
As Elizabeth often reminded us, it helps to recognize the flow of change stages is not a linear process. Stages may not necessarily occur in numerical order, and, they may come around more often than once, at various levels of intensity and lengths of time throughout the changing. A change process completes through objectively accepting what is. In other words, through you becoming unconsciously competent in your new circumstance. Huh.
What's that, Beth?
Yeah, that really lands, this idea of being like accepting what is unconscious competence in a new circumstance. I'm like, as I'm reading this and listening, just thinking about I'm considering and holding like the death of my dad, which happened now 2 Septembers ago. So like a year and a half ago. And I'm just realizing that I'm not there yet. I'm not unconsciously competent in my new circumstance. My relationship with my dad was like a very big part of my life. And for all of its like, you know, beautiful, enriching things and a lot of like just what was like so hard about me growing up, why I put so many blocks in myself from really coming into adulthood. So when my dad died, I had this feeling of relief, like I knew now that I could actually somehow step into adulthood or something. But also so much grief. So I'm just appreciating this because I'm just like, okay, I'm not there yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Experiments. Spark 139.01. Part 1 of this experiment is you going through the 5 stages of change with regards to the change of making it okay to feel sadness. Get with your possibility team or privately with a friend and begin the 5 stages together, filling in your own experiences. Something like this.
Stage 1, fear. No, not true. Sadness is okay to feel? Can't be. Sadness is proper and useful? This is impossible. Stage 2, anger. I hate sadness. It hurts. They always told me to stop crying. This means my father is wrong. The school system is wrong. Work is wrong. Stage 3, gremlin. Maybe I am not ready to read this spark today. Maybe Callahan is wrong. Perhaps I should come back to this at a later time. Stage 4, sadness. Oh my, I have too many things to be sad about. It's too much for me. I'm too old already. It's too late. Stage 5, joy. It is so good to be free to experience and express conscious sadness. It is fulfilling to have my friends repeat back what they hear me say. My grieving can complete itself and I can fully step into my new life. These 5 stages accompany life changes. For many years, you may have been stuck at a change in your life without even knowing it. My mother, for example, was in some ways stuck at 13 years old because she never grieved the loss of her father, killed during World War II in the Marshall Islands by a Japanese sniper in a palm tree.
Thank you. I'd like to, there are two experiments. There's this one, and then there's the next one. And we have enough time in this space, I think, to, well, my proposal would be that we split up into groups of two and spend 10 minutes on this experiment and then 10 minutes each. So it'd be 20 total. And then also 10 minutes on the next experiment, which would be 20 total. And that we just start with this one.
I feel some resistance because I don't know if it's true for me that I am going to go through this process. I feel really close to my sadness.
Mhm. Yes. Well, let me see if this would work for you, because this is what I was thinking, is that I think everyone in this room, whatever you just did, Beth, I think it was this gesture, ignited balloons on your screen.
Oh
We don't know
gosh,
what
I
that
can't
means
see
yet.
anything. I'm not looking at you guys. I'm staring right at the spark.
So it would be that there's this old map of sadness and a new map of sadness, and the journey from old map to new map is a learning spiral journey, meaning one that happens over time. So it would be something like starting with your authentic X on the map with sadness, and maybe it is that you're in total joy and acceptance, but as an experiment to see where else you might be in these stages, and to not, I think it was said earlier in the spark, but to let go of any kind of linearity in this process. So maybe just going through it and getting when you shift stage, that there might be something really noticeable that happens that you could talk about or move through or speak about, or that your partner could say, oh, it seems like you just moved from being in this acceptance into being back into a fear about, oh, what if your sadness lasts forever? And so that would be my proposal, rather than, I think, any sort of artificial attempting to fit ourselves into an exercise like this. Would that
Yeah.
work for you, Hannah?
That works for me.
Okay. Does that work for does that not work for anyone? I guess that's my question. Or anything to add to that?
No, this works.
I have one thing that first I have a kind of proposal that we go into groups of 3 and do it for 7 minutes each. And my reasoning is because I like to hang out with more people and do these things like in bigger groups.
I accept.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing for now.
I'm having a sleepy problem. And I would like to step out and step back in, like just during the groups. I would like to take a nap and then come back. Is that possible?
Yes, and do you really need sleep? I mean, it's my sense is you didn't get much sleep last night. What is it really that you would step out for just 20 minutes and step back in?
Yeah, I would just have a nap and get some regeneration going. And that's what I want to do.
Okay, it would work for me. So we'll
Okay.
have two groups of 1 of 2 and 1 of 3. And see you in about 20-ish minutes, Leslie. I
Okay.
want to make just 1 sec. I need to make sure I can do breakout rooms. For some reason, I don't have that showing up. Are you able to just make me a host or a co-host, Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that'll solve that.
Mhm. I want to name that I have an allergic reaction going on in my eyes, and it's like really itchy. And then I started hiccuping, and I'm just saying, wow, my body's really having some sort of response to this spark.
Mhm.
And in the map of allergies, it's like the person is a raisin there and they don't have enough sadness, like they're not coming forward with
Oh.
enough sadness.
Hmm.
They're kind of like inside in this little dried up state. And so yeah, I think it relates. So I just wanted to bring that as where I am right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm opening rooms, and I'd say both groups just time yourselves if you're 3 or you're 2, that you just adjust.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Who will go first?
Try it. I don't have the spark in front of me, but I think I know it goes fear, anger, and it's not linear, right? But it's
No,
fear, anger, gremlin, sadness, joy.
yeah, I'll keep time. And
Okay.
I'd also even encourage you to just completely forget the categories and just see what happens. And I don't know, something
Yeah.
like, let's test the map. Let's see what really happens in
Right.
the map.
Right.
All right, you may begin. And the question is something like your relationship to sadness. What with regards to the change of making it okay to feel sadness, where are you?
Mm. Yes, I like mentally think of myself as someone who expresses and feels a lot of sadness. And my relationship to sadness is that a lot of the sadness I've noticed can be gremlin sadness, like can be gremlin, like a victimhood sadness. And so just like still very fresh in my distinction between conscious sadness, which I really experience as like it comes through and there's nothing I can really do to stop it, and I won't, and it's here. And gremlin or unconscious sadness where I'm almost I do something where I can't think of the word, but it's like I almost like
Beth, can
fake
you,
it.
Beth, so you're kind of giving us the analysis right now.
Yeah.
And I wonder if,
Totally.
can you just drop more into your heart about your relationship with making sadness okay,
Yeah.
or letting
Thank you.
sadness be okay?
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with sadness, but I want it to end.
Yes.
So I'm not fully okay with it. I'm okay with it for it to be here for little bits of time. I've used it to like get things and manipulate in a way. And then I've also just really felt it, big sadness from loss. But I want it to be over. I'm a no to it in a way.
So what's the feeling towards sadness when you want it to be over?
There's fear. I have fear that it won't go away, and that if I really open up if when I open up, it goes on and on and on. So there's fear of it not ending. I have fear of sadness not ending, and I have anger that I'm angry that yeah, but it's like I have fear that it's not going to end, and I'm angry that it won't be over quicker. it's like there's a part of me that, yeah, an angry part. Like I'm angry and I just want to use it
Will you
to
speak from
release
it?
something.
Will you speak from the anger? Almost like you're
Yeah,
talking to sadness?
the only purpose of this is to get rid of something, to get something out of my body. So the tears are holding that stuff, and then just get it out so that I can feel that thing on the other side, which is clarity and calm. And there's like I can breathe the fresh air again. But during the sadness, it's like it's like almost like it's a slave. Like my anger tells me, I'm like, your sadness, you're my slave, and you do this thing for me. I use you to clarify and cleanse. And then it's over. And then it's over, and I can move on and be more like productive, or be able to relate to people again. Because when I'm sad, people are scared of me. This is the story I have. If I'm this sad, you're either thinking I'm a major victim, and I'm afraid about that. I'm afraid you're saying, oh, here Beth goes again. Here Beth goes again. Into her big tub, her wallowing lake of sadness that could never end. And so I don't want, like, there's a certain sadness I'm okay with people seeing me, and then this other one where I'm like, you don't understand, and you're scared of me, and you think I'm crazy,
Mhm.
and you will move away. You will just naturally. It's just, this is the story. It's like, energetically, it's just very natural for you to not want to come close with how much sadness I have. And my numbness bar is so high right now. It's like 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 sadness is here in my eyes, and it's like nowhere else. I feel like very like
Will you,
just
great
numb.
information. Will you just practice lowering it, just lowering it right in
Yeah.
front of us?
Yeah.
And as you're doing that, I just ask again, you have a certain relationship with sadness now. Where are
Yeah.
you with making it okay to have sadness?
Oh. Yeah, I feel fear. I feel fear about going into it. There's a certain time and place for it. And when it gets really big and it comes anyways, like, I do feel some joy about that. I do feel joy when it just washes through, and like it's there. Like I feel like I love my sadness too. And mm, mm. Mostly anger in my body right now. My body feels I feel very tense, and like I'm I'm angry that my eyes itch. I'm angry that my eyes itch, and that I'm angry that I'm not having fun right now, or something like that. Like,
That's time. I want to just encourage the other. I'd like to spend a couple minutes just talking about how that was and say what I noticed. So I'm going to tell
great.
the other group to do that too.
Okay.
How was that for you, Beth? Or what did you notice?
This this thing about you, like, you people will move away from me if I really show my sadness. That's I didn't really ever think about that before. I never really considered that I had that belief or like that story. It feels like it could be an EHP because I think that when the numbness bar just was like, phew, I could kind of sense that it moved in around that time.
Mm.
Like that, even though I know you both are people who welcome feelings, that it was like that strong. It was that strong that I was applying it to you in this space too. Yeah.
I noticed that your fear and your anger were very clear, and they really somehow worked together. Of I'm afraid about one was I'm afraid that people will move away, and then the anger was just this kind of I could really sense the like what you said. You're for something, and I don't want you hanging around forever. And it's something like the sadness is just a vehicle, or you called it a slave, actually, even. And then
Yeah.
I did see you experience the sadness. I can't quite remember what it was in relation to. It didn't fit really with whatever I would have looked at the map.
It was like Beth is going into her big tub of sadness, was what I
Right.
said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of like story or identity you have about yourself that people might judge or hate, or I don't know what the story is exactly.
Mm.
I didn't see
Yes.
so much joy, even though you did talk about joy. You talked about it as like love for the sadness. And I didn't detect gremlin in any way that other than that the other feelings, particularly the anger, had that kind of quality of low drama hatred. Got to get rid of you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm. Thank you.
Did you have something more, Hannah? Okay. I'll go next.
I'll keep time for you, Devin.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, right now I can feel it shifting, but I feel I feel angry about that the sadness it seems like it never ends. And there are moments, I'll just talk about the grieving process I'm going through. There are these moments where I it seems like things are shifting. I feel sad talking about this because I can feel my patience around it has changed so much. I was really impatient a few weeks ago and just I didn't want to be going through this at all. It's like I would have traded a lot. I would have traded like 6 months of my life to just not be going through this. And right now, where I am with sadness is appreciating the vehicle, the way that it really works in friendship. I have a lot of friends around me who are just like, of course I have 10 minutes. Or of yes, what is it? And still there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to be so needy. I don't want to be so sometimes I feel like my sadness, I'm the slave. Like that I'm the captive of it. And that I have to basically I have to go talk to someone, or it's either that or I have to kind of be down. I have to be sort of like I'm a muted color or some like crippled version of myself. And so I regularly feel kind of I'm at the whims of my sadness right now. And Yeah, the sadness is coming back right now. With the sadness in my life, I feel like I'm right on the edge of something. Like for years I've gotten this, that I have sadness as like my main kind of the main, I don't know what I call it, the main feeling, the thing I have most access to, and I've hated it. And I can sense I'm at the edge of getting the value of really getting the value of that in community or with people or in expressing love. And and one of the pains in my life right now is that I can feel the barrier between. It's like people rarely people are often shocked when I express how much I love them in some way, or say this is what I've been noticing about you, or I'm so affectionate, because I think I just hide it a lot. I mean, it's one of the ways that I've learned how to deal with like trying to be normal or something in a world where I feel this affection for strangers and love for strangers and for people who aren't strangers, but the love doesn't have a lot of logic, not enough to be like reasonable.
Yeah, what is the connection of affection? Like, can you say more about that? How sadness and affection are connected?
Boy, I don't, yeah, I'll try.
I mean, not from your mind, only if it,
Yeah,
letting the sadness talk to me about what affection is.
I noticed that it's something like the set. I can get so stiff all over in my life, and then in relating to, and it's like the sadness. It somehow can melt the stiffness enough for me to extend myself to someone. I'm thinking of this guy here. Some of the men here, I mean the women too, but it's a whole different world. But the men here, it's like I have all this stiffness around maybe homophobia or something like that. And to just let the thing open a little requires sadness to be able to tell someone I delight in them. There are some people here where it's just I freaking delight in them. And yeah, so I guess that's a part of it, is being able to express that. And I can't really do that when I'm stiff and kind of jerky. Uh, oh, is someone keeping time? I forgot. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have another minute in the house.
What'd you say?
You have another minute.
Okay.
So, yes, what is your relationship with sadness right now? I hear that you're on the edge and these different, how is it right now?
Yeah, it's right now. Yeah. Okay, right now I feel a little bit of fear that it's something like it's not super high fear, but okay, n now you both know what a kind of like sappy, what it's not a wet blanket, but it's like some sort of soft, sappy person I am. And
Maudlin.
yeah, just some like maudlin uh whatever. I don't know what it would be. I don't have a good word, but what is I think it's a fear about that. Does it really create closeness? That's the kind of question. Is that even the
Mhm.
kind of closeness I want with you?
That's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll reflect back what I heard.
Mhm.
I heard anger. It started with anger of I don't want to be so needy, and this kind of frustration of like I don't want to be going through this, and like I feel like I'm at the whims of my sadness, which is a little bit of a victim story, I guess. And then there was sadness of like I'm at the edge of getting to the place of like getting all this value out of the access I have to my sadness, but I feel these barriers that are keeping me from it.
Mm.
And then I heard fear just now of like a doubt, like a doubting it. Like, is this really a way to connect? And is it the way that I want to connect?
Mm. That sums it up over here as well. Thank you.
I also want to bring in the joy that I heard when you were like, it's almost like you had an internal discovery. You didn't really share about it, but about your patience.
Yeah.
So it's like you did tap into the joy. There was like, you were joyful that you had more patience for what was happening.
Yeah, thank you. That's been
Yeah.
such a huge shift. I want to say the last like 3 weeks of just it's gonna take it takes time, and I was not experiencing that at all before. Yeah.
I felt your joy just now when you said that.
Mm.
Me too. I almost missed it though. I think if you hadn't said something, I would have not.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't feel it as much the first time when you said it, but I felt it now when Beth brought it up.
Thank you. You ready, Hannah?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, I'll keep time this time. Oh, so tell us this relationship that you have with your sadness right now and it being okay.
Yeah. I feel fear in my body right now. And yeah, I think it's also this fear of like I had my sadness come up like in a public space last weekend. It was like a women's circle, so it's a supportive space. And I had this moment actually of like I was like, oh my God, like it's coming. And I was like, am I going to like let it come, or am I going to hold it back? And I like had a choice, and I like made like the conscious decision in that moment to let it come. And I just sobbed in front of everyone. But returning to that moment, there's fear of like am I really gonna cry in front of like a bunch of people again, like that I don't really know that well? And it's like this story. It almost it happened like earlier in the week as well, but that time I held it back, and yeah, it's this fear of like, oh my God, like people are gonna think I'm crazy. Like it's like I think the story now is like, well, it's like I know that sadness is okay, and like I'm okay with my sadness, but like maybe other people aren't going to be okay with it. Um, and like, yeah, they're just gonna be like, what is wrong with her? Like, or yeah, and be like, yeah, just be like, this is so dramatic, or like this is so unnecessary or something. Um, yeah, I'm trying to sense out if there are other feelings as well. The fear is super present.
Can I ask you, what is the feeling when you say it like, oh, I'm gonna do this again? Like I sensed that there was another feeling, that fear might have been on top, but there's also another feeling.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, probably anger.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, God, like I have so much access to my sadness. Like it's so easy for me to just like drop into sadness. Like I cry at everything. Like I cry at like children's movies. I cry like reading books. Like I cry when I see like a person on the street. Like I just cry. And like, yeah, it's this like anger about like um yeah, it's like why can't I access the other ones like that? And like yeah, I think it goes along again with this story of like, okay, like great, you have access to your sadness, and like it this fear of it goes back to the fear of like how other people will see that. Um and so that yeah, the anger is kind of like um it's kind of covering up for the fear in a way.
One of the fears that you talked about that seemed very poignant was this fear that people are going to think you're crazy. Would you check that out more? Could you say more about that?
Yeah, hearing you say that, I feel really sad.
Because
I'm not sure. It's just like I don't want people to think that I'm crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I want I don't know, I want people to know like there's one second, let me check it again. Yeah, I don't know, it's this story of like, yeah, people are gonna think I'm crazy, and then I'll just be all alone with my sadness. And and then what's even the point of having sadness? Because your sadness, my sadness is used for connection. And what's the point of having this access to sadness if no one's there?
Mhm. And that's time.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
I will share some reflections. I did hear, yeah, fear about people thinking you're crazy and being alone, and anger about having so much access and crying at everything, and like almost like a comparison, like why can't I access the other feelings like that? And I really did sense a little gremlin when, with the questions like what's wrong with her, this is so dramatic and unnecessary, and with this like comparison thing. I felt that was a gremlin food in a way of like, yeah, just doubting yourself or judging yourself from the inside. And yeah, the last part that you said about what's the point of having access to sadness if you're alone really like landed in me, and I feel sad about it.
Could you say a bit more about what it was there that landed in you, Beth?
Yeah, it's that question makes so much sense to me. Like I'm like, yeah, exactly. And it's almost like it transported me to all these times of crying alone and really thinking that I couldn't, believing that I couldn't just show someone that I was crying. And then also having had the experience of showing someone I was crying and it being so much more healing and just being witnessed in it. So just, yeah, I'm sad that both those experiences exist for me, and I know they exist for other people. And something else too, Hannah, when you said yeah, you said I don't want people to think that you're crazy, and you were sad about it, and like something flashed in me, like it's like almost like I felt like the sadness had to do with wishing that people could be like accepted and could know that, and if like we could all just like peel off the ruse and be like, we all have this, we all go through this.
Did you have anything, Hannah, about the space?
Nothing else.
The only thing I was, well, the only thing, not the only thing, but something I was wondering about was just what shifted, because you were in one space where you had a relationship with sadness where you couldn't do anything about it. And then there's a mystery for me. What happened between there and the next space in you?
Well, part of me wants to say like it's just my mental body like coming in and being like, well, you have the new map of sadness, so like there's nothing to, like whatever, like you've already accepted it. Like what's the point of this exercise? Um, so I think that was just my mental body coming in and being like, it's a waste of time, like don't do it. And then yeah, just getting to this space. Uh And also, yeah, I don't know. I guess the invitation from you, Devin, like the way you
Oh, I'm
phrased
talking about
it.
something. I think I'm talking about something else, but maybe I'm not.
Oh,
Oh,
But
what are you talking
you had said while you were sharing that earlier in the week you were in a space where you could not express sadness.
about? Oh,
And then you were
okay,
in a
okay.
space with women or something where you
oh,
just you could.
I thought you were saying what Hannah thought, so I
Yeah,
thought I
yeah.
had to respond to what you, yeah, like how in the main room did she go,
Oh.
oh, I don't need this exercise, I'm on the new map, and then to show up here in this space and just be like, well, here it all is. Yeah.
Okay,
But you're
I have
asking
source
how did it
confusion.
okay, so you're asking the distinction between why in the one space she pushed it down and why in the other she was able to
Just
feel
what
it, made the
shifted in
decision?
you. Yeah.
What shifted? Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
think
I have a proposal too, which is that we go back into the main space and
Okay.
talk about it there, just so we can
Cool.
see the people again. Okay.
Yeah.
let's do it.
All right.
See you back there.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was like a have to.
It was a combination. It was mainly I want to,
Mhm.
but I also was feeling very crumbly and like I didn't know what direction I would go. And I mean, it's
Mhm.
not that unusual to go the sleepy direction. But
Yeah.
But now you're back
I'm
Yeah.
here.
from outer space. You know the rest. Okay. Welcome back to the space. How was this experience for you? I open up a space about the space.
I loved this experience. I really loved it. And I think I will read that spark many times, but it opens. I don't know if it is an open door, or whatever it is, but I loved it, and I love to be able to share on. Well, I love the space we were with Edna.
Will you say a little bit about what you loved?
I love the clarity she could bring when I shared, and after she did a feedback, and I love the way I understood myself better with her feedback. So this is really helpful. Thank you. And when it was her turn, I think I felt really related to her. I felt related. So this is good for me, of course. I like to be related, but I think I felt I could feel, or I could sense where she was. So I hope so. This is the way I felt. I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For my part, it was really painful to do this exercise. I very what? Oh. I very consciously went into the sadness and was just watching. I was thinking about my last EHP and thinking about remembering all the different stories, emotions that come up. And recently, anytime I feel sadness in a process, it's almost immediately followed by, I can't fucking wait to be done with this. I'm so fucking sick of being sad all the time. And how I really just am punishing myself constantly for being a sad sack, for having sadness, for wanting to cry all the time. Like, it's really feeling into how deep this punishment thing goes, and how it's related to my gremlin, and how I use my other feelings to really destroy a space for my sadness to really exist. And so I was feeling very sad about this, and Genevieve held a really wonderful space for me to open it up and unpack it a little bit more. But yeah, I feel really, really sad about that right now.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I also had the when is this going to be over? Like I realized that I yeah, kind of sometimes just see my sadness as like a slave to me. Like it's just there to release something and then it's going to be done and I'll feel better on the other side. So I'm still really, in a way, I'm really glad about the Hannah's question in the main space and then Devin, you bringing in the learning spiral as part of it, that it's like, okay, yeah, like some of the new map I have and I really hold, and there's still ways in which, okay, there's always more layers. So I just saw that because I do cry a lot and I do feel sad, my sadness, and in spaces like training spaces and stuff, like it does just come and I go. And then also it, you know, out here in this modern culture, like I do still cry on my own and I do still not reach out and reach out for a team to be there and witness me and hold me while it's happening. And I do have stories that it's not welcome and that it pushes people away, just that naturally, organically, energetically, people have to move away when someone's really, really sad.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm glad I got to see some of those ways in which I am holding this, because I didn't consider it. You know, I had the story like, okay, I'm trying to figure out between my victimhood sadness and my oh, in Gremlin Transformation chapter 1 this past week, I was in a process and I was crying and I was crying and then I felt I felt something shift where like my sadness became about manipulating the space. And right at that time too, Jan was like, okay, it was really authentic. And then did channel 2 just come in? And I was like, whoa, I guess I'm just celebrating right now that I even could feel it happen. And so cool that he also saw it. So I got to stop and go, yes, that is what just happened, you know, even though I felt fear about admitting it or something, you know. But so yeah, I'm definitely in this exploration with sadness right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I noticed that I'm on some kind of, this came out, but I'm on in a journey right now of coming to accept more how easily I access sadness, how frequently I feel it, how it's kind of the, I don't even know what my main feeling. I don't know what the right word is, or my core feeling or something like that. And also still have the voices that it's that I don't want that. I think that's the main one. Is like I don't want to be that guy. And there was partway through while I was speaking something that Beth and then also I think Hannah pulled out about, I had said something about developing, particularly during this grieving process, a kind of patience with myself, with the process that is so foreign in a way. I find myself complaining a lot less about being a subject of grieving. And I think it's extending also more to some patience I have with, yeah, it is truly who I am. It's part of the car I'm driving, is that I have a massive relationship with sadness, and a lot of it's been unconscious and it's shifting. And and I like that. And there was something else that came up, I think, about affection and about the use of sadness in expressing affection, and how lately it's been critical for the sadness melts a kind of stiffness that I walk around with in my relating spaces with people, and allows for me to express the real, in some ways I can feel there's a lot of potential, but in some ways just the real affection I have for the people I'm with and people I'm walking beside. And that's really lovely. I want more of that.
Thank you, Devin.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's something going on. There's something going on. I need to say it. Almost like, and I can talk about myself, like almost like the way I'm talking about sadness and something kind of how I heard you just talking about sadness, almost like it has a mind of its own. So I just want to bring that into the space. There's this theme almost in the shares. And I guess when you were just talking about affection and how sadness can melt stiffness, I was like, yeah, like right now, like I can bring up sadness in my body. Like I have access to that, right? So just remembering for myself, and because it just felt like kind of almost this way it was being talked about, like a being, like there is sadness. There was a lot of that so far. So just bringing that in.
Hannah had said something about the victimhood of
Yeah.
being a victim of sadness, which I'm connecting
Yeah.
to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that way. I definitely think
Yeah.
that way. There's something where it's like it's never a good time. It's never convenient.
Yes.
So demanding.
Yes.
Those are some of the stories I have about it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's gremlin, right? That's like the gremlin stage
Yeah. Maybe.
or the
Yeah.
layer. It's almost like those things are all happening at once in layers. Like that's why it's like it's not linear
Mhm.
That's right.
and
Yeah.
it can jump around, but it's also like almost like how the upper world, middle world, and underworld, it's like it's all there in layers all the time. So it's just about what's on top or what's yeah,
Mm.
cool. Yes.
We have some time left for exploring another exploration, the final
Hi.
prompt or the final, whatever you call it, experiment. That's it. We have at least enough time to read it and maybe enough time to try something. So I'm going to share this. Okay. I will start this. Spark 139.02. Part 2 of this experiment is to catch up with all the grieving you have blocked by thinking that sadness was bad, to grieve in earnest. Again, get with your possibility team or a friend and listen to each other as you complete the following stories one at a time, letting your sadness lovingly flow.
I am ready to grieve my beloved pet who died. Let your heart speak. I felt so sad having to move and lose all of my friends. Let your sadness tell the story. I never grieved leaving behind my brothers and sisters when I left home or when they left me. I'm ready to grieve leaving my parents. I grieve my special friend leaving me. I grieve my part in causing the breakup. I never admitted my grief when learning that the world is not as I had hoped. Pass.
I grieve every little part of me that dies every time I take a step towards growing up. I sadly grieve the wars, the raped women, the starving children, the damaged earth. I grieve that the show I put on for so long has not succeeded in authentic living. I grieve so many misunderstandings. I grieve my arrogance. I grieve my harshness, gripping on to what I cannot control. I grieve not yet being who I came here to be. And I can't read the last sentence. Devin, can you scroll down?
Yes, I can.
Thank you for letting the tears wash away what is no more. and letting the changes finally happen in your 5 bodies.
How it's appropriate that to me that it ends with a comma instead of a period. Okay. We have 10 to 12 minutes. I'd say 12 minutes. I'd like to just do this as a group, that you just speak into the space when it comes, what you grieve, and let your sadness really be the channel that carries that.
Mm.
And I will keep time for this space.
Are we all speaking at once or
Yes. No.
one after another?
Just go.
I'm grieving how much of my life is dedicated to torturing myself and to being in pain and to being miserable. I'm really grieving that.
I'm grieving that I've done so many things I didn't want to do, that I've said yes to things I didn't want to say yes to, even like conversations, that it's been a huge part of my life, is just being adaptive for no reason.
I'm grieving that I'm not yet who I came here to be. I'm really grieving that.
Not the relationship I feel with my partner is not serving me.
I'm grieving that I couldn't hold space for the women that I've been in relationships with.
I'm grieving some of my friends who don't want to be in connection with me anymore. And I'm just grieving that they're not here. They don't want to be.
I'm grieving all of the relationships I've destroyed, all of the really beautiful friendships. And I'm grieving the loss of Rachel in my life. I miss her so much.
I'm grieving that my dad's not here anymore and I can't just call him up and talk to him on the phone. I really miss talking to him on the phone.
I'm grieving that I can't tell my mom who I really am.
I'm grieving the adult mother I would have liked to be.
I'm grieving that I used to not have any patience at all with the grieving process, and that's changing, and it's not who I am anymore.
Grieving like aging. I'm grieving that I'm older, that I'm yeah, that something's different. My body's different. I'm grieving the change in my body. Oh,
I'm grieving I stopped my dreams.
grieving that I'm so scared to stand in my power.
Mm. I'm grieving the ways I make myself so alone that I create realities in which it's possible for me to be lonely, even while surrounded by people that I love so much.
I'm still grieving that my relationship with Dre didn't work out. That we broke up, and for the ways that I was a big part of that. I'm still grieving. It was like the love of my life. And it's been so many years, and you're still grieving. I'm grieving the little girl who thought that someone had all the answers.
I'm grieving that even right now I can't let this sadness get as big as it really is. That even now I'm so scared to let this sadness get big.
Leslie, would you say something into this space and join us? I miss your voice.
I'm grieving all the ways that I have given away my center and look to blame somebody else I'm grieving so many things. The dog that I didn't take care of and my mother took care of. I'm grieving the I'm grieving the making of bringing stress to situations that just need support, they don't need stress. And grieving how tender and vulnerable each person here is, and how precious that is, and how we and I don't dare go there enough.
I'm grieving the coral reefs. I can't believe they're almost gone. I'm grieving the animals that are extinct. The blue rhinoceros.
I'd like to come to a slow close here, and that this would not mean closing your heart or closing your grief or your flayed openness. It's like cut openness. And to just come back to having your eyes open and being in contact with people here. And there's something just so apparent with sadness. Just the togetherness to me becomes so much more apparent. So to be there with that too. Is that kind of cheesy thing about aloneness is actually the all oneness. I think that's partly available through this sadness.
Mm.
Does anybody need or want to say anything before we transition into a couple minutes of feedback and coaching for the space holder.
No.
Thank
I
you.
noticed I have something I want to share.
Go.
It's a doorway I noticed. At the very end of the sadness, or near the end, this big, big sadness started approaching of this belief that I don't believe that people miss me when I'm gone or when I'm not around. And when I felt this, like the hugeness of this sadness start to come up, I really just was doing everything in my power to make it stop. And because it was going to be really big and loud, and I'm outside right now, and I had so many excellent excuses for not going there. And like with the incredible amount of attention that I was putting on stifling this sadness, it somehow opened a door to the swamp.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not somehow, but it did open a door to the swamp. Like, I can't do this. I can't go there. This is too much. It's bad. And that's a connection I had not made consciously before. Suppressing my sadness is one very big way that I go into the swamp.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty. I ask that you give me feedback and coaching about my space holding, and especially experiments I could try the next time I hold space for this group in 2 weeks.
Devin, I appreciate your space holding so much. I feel joy about it. I felt so much joy that I was gonna come here today and spend this time with you holding space. And there's a way in which it just really allows ease of authenticity to arise. And because I think that I feel you were very authentic today, and it gives a lot of permission for me to also do that and go there. So that's my feedback to you today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I feel glad to hear that. It's like what I want to create, that kind of space.
I appreciated the check-in at the beginning. It was I appreciated it. It was a good way to come even more in the space. And yes, I appreciate really a lot the authenticity and the way you are completely there.
Thank you.
Maybe just for easy, maybe, but I don't know. We could have shifted the experiments, because when it is not the way I feel now, I felt better after the first experiment. I mean, but when it is, it's okay.
What do you mean by felt better?
I just hope I will not stay in that sadness so long.
So felt better means not feeling the sadness so long.
Yes, so it is fake. Okay.
So it,
So I understand. Yes, this is what I meant, but maybe it is not what it is supposed to be. Well, forget it.
I can't. I won't. You say things in the space and they matter.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Well, it is just like if I hope to. It is like if I hope not to feel that deep sadness when we are leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And
I
invite
was very glad to. I was very glad to be here. Very, very, very glad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I invite that you don't have to feel it alone. That even I don't know if someone's available here, but that there are the groups or the people. I'd recommend it that if you are feeling this, that someone could be with you for even 10 minutes on the call or 15 minutes to just be with you where you are so that you don't go back to your life and put yourself back together and try to just do the Genevieve thing.
Mm.
Is there something you'd like around that or that you need, let's say something you'd like from this group or to ask?
Would someone like to stay with me for 5 minutes?
Yes, I can.
Okay. It's okay. I would like. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I want to say it's 6:02. I've got to go do something else. But if you do have any other feedback or coaching, I'd love to see it. And just thank you for this space, this precious space today.
Yes. Thank you so much, Devin. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You, everyone.
Thank you.
Ethna and Genevieve and Hannah, thank you.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Can Genevieve and I stay on this space? Will you just leave it?
Yeah, let me see if I can make you host and then that changes things.
I have
I don't know, maybe
Okay.
Leslie has to do that.
I'll do it.
I'm gonna stop the recording.